I'm super excited to be back, and this is like, I find it to be like my meta moment in this city, and I think it just like works out really well. And I thought when I came here 2 years ago, because Herb invited me, I was like, oh wow, Newcastle is really nice, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I'll ever go back there. And lo and behold, I've been coming back here since the beginning of this year, beginning of 2024, at least 20 times. I spent every weekend here, like for days and days, to do something really special. So for those of you who were not here 2 years ago, I'll tell you very quickly what we do at CuteCircuit. We do wearable technology. And if you're not familiar with wearable technology, what we do is that we have garments that look beautiful and fashionable, and then we have smart textiles and microelectronics, and we merge them together to create experiences. And the reason we're doing this, and it's like, sometimes it's like, find your why. And the why we've been doing this for so many years is that we want to bring people together. I always say our motto is connecting people. Sort of like a Nokia advert from the 90s. But that's exactly what we want to do. We want to just make sure that people can express themselves and find joy in connecting with other people. And over the years, we created a number of different garments. Some of them are in museums, and some are like all over the world with like real people using them every day. And some are more fashionable, and some of those we call special projects. And what we did like a bit go deeper in today is like this special project. And the origin story of what I'm going to show you a little bit later on is the hug shirt. And I designed this with my co-founder, Ryan, that is somewhere here in the room. And it was really like an excuse to hug each other after we had just met. And but the reason we did this is that we were in a research institute, and we were like working on creating technology on the body, and what would we do with this technology? And so we asked all of our friends, and they were like, so if you could wish for something, what would you wish for? And they were like, oh, I wish to be hugged, because everybody was far away from their family and friends, and they wanted to have human connectedness. And we're like, okay, we're going to do a hug shirt. So we created this garment that lets you hug someone over distance. So you give yourself a squeeze, the garment captures when one is touching, and then it transmits it across the world to another person wearing the same garment, and they can feel the touch of their loved ones over distance. And we sort of hit on something here, because this was invented by us in 2002, when the iPhone didn't even exist. The iPhone came on the scene in 2009. So imagine us developing 25 different versions of a Java software with screens of different dimensions to make sure that people on different phones could hug each other. It was an absolute nightmare. So then finally the iPhone comes up, and you're like, yeah, thank you. And but you got the word as one of the best inventions of the year. And the thing that happened is that lots of people wanted to have one, but we only had two. So fast forward a few more years, and we just kept doing new versions. Every 2 years, we do a new design. And something marvelous happened. In 2019, we were contacted by the Junge Symphoniker Orchestra in Hamburg. And they were like, we saw your hug shirts, and we thought, do you think that we could use hug shirts to let our deaf patrons feel music? And we're like, just give us a minute. We are going to go back to the drawing board. We came up with a software that can capture music in real time and transform it into touch sensations. And then the other thing we did was that we were able to map all the instruments on stage to different parts of the garment in relation to their frequencies. So that usually, like when a deaf person goes to a concert, they sort of get this wall of like, boom. And it's all like all together. One cannot really distinguish, is it the violin, is it the drums? What's the strongest thing happening on that stage? Because one can maybe see the movement, but one cannot really tell who's who. And so we mapped the violins here, because they're more like trebly feeling. We have the timpani at the back, because they're really strong. And we also sort of timed like our actuators on the front and the actuators on the back to really feel like this wall of music is coming through you. So it goes, boom, and one can feel it going, and it just comes out. So it feels like completely immersive. And this is really fun. We tried it like with video games. We tried it with watching a movie. But one of the things I always thought, could we use it for something else? And so we came up with this whole category of haptic garments, which is really like how to let people feel immersed through the sense of touch. And we renamed the whole category Hug, haptic user interface garment. We're like, yes, we want to, it's not just a hug shirt anymore, it's a very scientific innovation. It's still called hug, because I mean, we're called CuteCircuit. It's not that all of a sudden we're going to be very dry. Yeah, it's a hug. And basically, what we want to do is let people feel the force. But we do this in a much more benevolent manner. And one of the things that I always thought was like, why we do all these things like, I mean, it's one-to-one, I send a hug to my husband or my friends, or we have a concert and there are people watching this performance and they can feel it. But I was like, what if we were in a massive space? What if there were like thousands of people? What if we could create something that is really for everyone? Because sometimes when people think about orchestras, they think, oh, maybe it's a little bit like an elite pastime to go to an opera. And maybe like you are traveling too much, you need a hug shirt. And it's like, we want everyone to enjoy this. So all of a sudden, we were contacted by some really lovely people that are Sela, RNID, that is the Royal National Institute for the Deaf, and Newcastle United Football Club, because we just didn't want people to feel the force. We wanted people to feel the noise, the passion, and the sense of belonging. I always tear up here, because I think these words never rang truer than in this city. This city has the loudest stadium in the world. The fans are the best fans. I'm a fan too now because I've been completely brainwashed. Because I've been here so many times, I'm just like, I'm totally from Newcastle myself now. So this place is massive, and it's really different from any opera house I've ever been at. I mean, to start, the weather. So this is my husband and co-founder, Ryan. He created the software that can capture the music in real time. And so it's a massive space, it's very loud, it's very rainy, and it's also extremely windy. That's me taking a little walk on the roof of St. James Stadium. And I mean, it was just like an absolutely terrifying experience. And we're like, yes, we're going to have to install our equipment here. And I mean, you can see that this is really, really big, because the pitch, I think you can see it, is like down there. It's really far away. It's like about 1 kilometer away from the pitch, with all these like little steps. And you see, that's Ryan there, installing a little broadcast antenna, and I'll tell you more about how the system works. And that's how high he is. And it was very windy. His computer almost flew off the roof. And we're like, oh my, how are we going to do this? So this is how the system works. Basically, we have the football pitch, and we have microphone at each corner. And every microphone is connected with an XLR cable to a control room. And then in the control room, we have our computer with the software that is interpreting the sound of the crowd in real time from every corner. And then is going through a fiber cable up onto the roof. And then we have an antenna that is broadcasting this touch data to every single seat in the stadium. So a person who's wearing the sound shirt can be sitting anywhere they want. So sometimes when people have like events that are for inclusivity, a person who's maybe deaf or blind ends up sitting on a penned area. We didn't want that to happen. We wanted everyone to enjoy the game with their friends wherever their season ticket brought them, which was like really complicated. I logged so many steps on my Apple Watch. I went up and down the stadium steps like 3,000 times in one day. I had like 25,000 steps, and I was like, got really fit. But the thing that is really crazy is that, I mean, usually if you have an XLR cable connecting a microphone to the computer in an opera house, it's like 20 meters long, 30 meters long. These cables were 300 meters long. And we happened to lay them down in the dark during a very cold night. And it was quite an experience. And the thing that we wanted to do when we positioned these microphones was to capture the atmosphere. And the atmosphere of a football game is really different to the atmosphere of an opera, because at the opera, everybody's sitting down, very quiet, nobody moves. And then the performers on stage, they're doing all the work. But in a stadium, the crowd is the musical instrument. The crowd is the emotion. The crowd is like people going, oh, we got the ball, we got the ball. We missed. And you want to feel that, oh, the disappointment. You want to feel the high of knowing that you got the ball. So we mapped every part of the stadium to a different part of the garment. So we have the home fans here on the heart, underneath the Newcastle United Football Club shield, and we have the away fans on this other side. And then we have like the cheer and the happiness up here, and we have the disappointment down here. And basically the thing that is amazing, and I tried it myself when we were testing, was that not only you can tell what's happening like in your garment, you can tell what's happening on the pitch just by feeling what the garment is doing. Because you get all our supporters and fans totally ramped up for scoring a goal, and you feel them here, and then all of a sudden starting feeling something here, you realize that you got distracted and the other team has possession, and that's super annoying. And it shouldn't happen. So we created all these sensations and mapped them really precisely, thanks to these two wonderful lads. They're my favorite lads in the whole world. And they are David Wilson and Ryan Gregson. And we were like doing all this user testing with them over the past 6 months. And Ryan and David are super fans of Newcastle United Football Club. They are deaf since birth, and they have been going to every game of their favorite team their whole lives. They have tattoos of like the Newcastle logo. They're just like the best fans a team could ever hope for. So we engaged Ryan and David in research, and one of the things that was very interesting is that we were supposed to sort of remap what we usually do with orchestras with what we do with the stadium, but we also wanted them to understand really what happens to your body when you can actually feel the cheer. So we had microphones, and we made Ryan and David like, you are the fans. Just do what you would usually do, and then feel the physical sensation. And where do you want to feel this sensation? In which way would this sensation be meaningful to you at that precise moment? And that's how we coded all the sensations into the garment. And so they started clapping, cheering, screaming into the microphones. And they say, oh, I can feel it everywhere. And the thing that was really interesting is that like, we were sort of goofing off in between testing sessions, because it was a very long day, and it was very cold in the place where we were testing. And so we're like, guys, why don't we put on some music? And so we decided to put on Run DMC, It's Like That. And that's the way it is. And basically, what Ryan and David say is, like, when we were growing up, we saw our friends, they were breakdancing, but we could never get the rhythm. So we put this music on, they had the shirts on, they started dancing. And if you see this lady here on the left-hand side of the screen, she's Ryan's mom, and she got really emotional. She was crying when we were testing this, because she said it was the first time she saw her son dance. And they danced together. And I mean, this moment was so precious to us, and I was like, this is the best feedback we ever got. This is how we really bring people together. And so then we got all their feedback. We're like, okay, guys, I think we got this. We can make this happen. We changed all the coordinates. So as you can see underneath here, I have the musical instruments that come on different channels, because we have lots and lots of instruments in an orchestra, 90. And then we're like, we have 4 corners now. The strawberry, that is the super, super loud fans. They're always singing, and if they get disappointed, they will let you know. And then we have the northeast, we have the star corner. Everything has been perfectly remapped to happen on the day. And the shirt looks like a normal Newcastle shirt, but inside it has sound shirt, technology, so it has these vibration motors that resonate with different frequency depending on which part of the body they are, because some parts of the body are more muscular, some are a little bit more fatty tissue. So we made all these vibration harmonize with the different parts of the body. And as my co-founder said, it's like, it feels like we're in the stadium. And that's really what we wanted to go for. And so we worked like all these months, and finally we're like, okay, the event is going to be on the 13th of April. It was like, 4 weeks ago now. And we're like, how are we going to prepare for this? And we had They were just like so happy. They couldn't wait to go out there and be the mascots for their team. These are all children from the Newcastle United Football Club Foundation. They all play football. They're really good. Like, they were all bragging that they scored lots of goals when they were training with Denver, and they were just like super excited to just like grow up and be footballers. And I always felt like really sort of like really emotional, like seeing them play, because when I was a little girl, I used to play soccer myself, football, because my grandfather used to be a footballer. He played for the Lazio team in Italy, and so I grew up, like, my mom was born in a football stadium, because my granddad was the captain of the team. So literally, football is in my blood. So when I saw this, and unfortunately my grandfather is not with us anymore, but I was extremely emotional. I was like, I'm doing this basically from my granddad. I didn't sleep at night. I spent all this time creating this technology, but it was so worth it just to see what the fans would feel. So I'm showing you this video that is the latest installment in the Newcastle Sela sound shirt saga, and I hope you enjoy it.
Good afternoon. Today's game is going to be extra special.
On match day, thousands of die-hard Newcastle fans make their way to St James's Park. Fans like Ryan and David, best friends and lifelong supporters. They experience football differently from other fans. But their unique perspective has been an inspiration, a driving force for innovation. Using cutting-edge technology, a Sela sound shirt vibrates to the noise of the crowd in the game.
It's almost like you're wearing the stadium.
This technology has the power to change the way deaf people experience live football, helping them feel more connected to the fans and more connected to the game.
Hello, how is everybody? For the Tottenham game, you're all going to be mascots, so you get to walk out with us in front of the crowd. Ready? Go. Look.
Newcastle United from
This is more than a shirt, it's a change for the better, creating moments that will be remembered forever.
season, they might need new batteries at half time.
Two goals in what, a minute? It's Newcastle United 4.
Look at them even now. Our shots buzzing, and so it should.
Danburn in that celebration of saying love the fans in sign language.
It's raising awareness.
These supporters are being heard.
This technology has got the potential to have a real lasting impact.
That's the power of football. And every football club has the power to affect people and give them experiences they wouldn't normally get.
I always get emotional in this, but it's great. I mean, these two guys, if they are, I think, watching us from home, so I want to say thank you to them and thank you to Sela and Newcastle and RNID. So follow them if you don't follow, because there is like a great program of all this, like the Newcastle Foundation for Children and for the deaf fans, and it's continuing. So now every time the deaf fans go back to the stadium, at every game, the system is installed permanently, and like Ryan and David and all their friends can just go to the stadium and enjoy their time there. So thank you.
So, in terms of, I mean, first of all, an amazing story. I mean, and I mean, I guess first of all, I mean, how did it was it just random that there was, because obviously, because your last visit to Thinking Digital was your first time ever in Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And then did this just by chance happen to, you got a call from RNID and they said, hey,
yeah,
we need a shirt?
Yeah, it was from Prism, that is the agency that is in charge of like the sports and entertainment, and they work with Sela and Newcastle United Football Club.
Okay.
And basically, Sela is, I think, is like the shirt sponsor for Newcastle, and they are really great in creating events in which they involve the fans. Right. And so the first thing they did when they came on board with sponsoring the front of shirt, they said, we want all the fans to enjoy the game, and we want to bring all the fans together. Yeah. And I thought that was a great purpose. And so then they found us and said, you know, we really like your sound shirt. Have you ever used them in a really big space? And we're like, we can try. Yeah. And so that's how the project came about, and then we were just like coming back and forth to Newcastle every other week, and I mean it was just like a totally like a completely different world, because usually we like, try to be like more on the fashion side, and but I really love sports. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect, because this is so much fun. I mean, my favorite thing was just literally going around the pitch, and I had my access all area pass, and I really go on the pitch, and I'm like, I like this. I would like play ball too.
Was there either like the greatest technical challenge you had, or it doesn't have to be technical, could be UI or whatever, that you had to overcome, or that you weren't able to overcome and you had to kind of say, well, maybe next time?
I mean, the technical challenge really is what we spent 6 months mostly working on, besides recreating all the sensation, is where do we put the equipment? Right. Because, I mean, the wearers of the garments can sit anywhere, but somehow there is lots of broadcasters and televisions and radio that they actually buy their seats in the press box or in specific locations around the pitch with their cameras and microphones. Yeah. And they didn't want to share their microphones. Right. They didn't want to share their video content. So basically we had to create our own network to make sure we could capture the fans when we needed to. Right. Okay. And that was really challenging, because that's how we ended up playing 300 meters of cable in the middle of the night, and we couldn't see anything. And it was really funny, because we're like, can you turn on the lights? And obviously they turn on the lights in the stadium. The lights are pointing on the pitch, not behind the billboards. So we're like, we cannot see anything anyway. So basically it became a most advanced adventurous setup, trying to work it out with the engineers and figure out where things were supposed to go.
Nice.
So yeah, it was technical challenges everywhere.
And is there something next now that's happened? I know it's only just been launched, so I'm sure you're still to some extent hopefully soaking in the celebration of the success for it. But are you likely to repeat this in other contexts? Would you say?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
But I cannot say it.
You cannot say yet. All right. Okay.
Yeah, and we're working on something special, which I also cannot say it. And but you'll see it, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Cool.
It's kind of very visible.
Sounds like a future.
In this city.
Thinking Digital 2026 invite
incoming. Then I can spill all the tea. And
yeah, fabulous. Francesca, congratulations and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.